I didn't realize a relationship could end without breaking until I saw myself in the mirror and couldn't recognize the person staring back. People say heartbreak changes you. They're wrong. It rebuilds you, piece by piece, from the ruins of who you used to be. This is how one failed relationship changed my identity. I used to be the kind of person who believed love was something you earned. If you tried hard enough, loved deeply enough, gave enough, they would stay. But that version of me, the one I thought was so noble and self-sacrificing, was actually built on fear. It was a foundation of pure terror, fear of abandonment, fear of being alone, and the deepest fear of all, the fear of not being enough. And that fear, that shaky foundation, was the very first thing that relationship exposed. It didn't fall apart all at once, in some dramatic explosion. It was more like a slow leak. A quiet, persistent drip of little comments that hurt more than they should have. Moments where silence said what words didn't. It was the feeling of walking on eggshells in your own home, of constantly editing your personality to be more palatable, less demanding, smaller. I was so busy trying to be the perfect partner that I didn't notice I was becoming a ghost. I'd look at my reflection and see a stranger, someone whose smile didn't quite reach their eyes, someone who had forgotten their own favorite color. The moment everything shifted wasn't loud. There was no screaming match, no slammed doors. It was a Tuesday. Just an ordinary, forgettable day. We were sitting in the living room, the TV droning on in the background, and she looked at me with this profound sadness and said, "I feel like I'm losing myself with you." The irony was suffocating, because in that single, quiet moment, for the very first time, I realized I had absolutely no idea who I was without her. I had so completely merged my identity with hers, with the idea of us, that me had ceased to exist. When it finally ended, the relationship didn't break me. Not in the way I expected. It broke the identity I was hiding behind. It shattered the carefully constructed mask of the easygoing, selfless partner. I had spent so long, so many years, trying to be what she needed, anticipating her every mood, molding myself into the shape of her expectations, that I forgot to ask myself what I needed. What did I want? What made me happy? The questions felt foreign, almost selfish. And that's when the real heartbreak began. It wasn't the pain of losing her. It was the terrifying, gut-wrenching pain of meeting the version of myself I had abandoned. He was a stranger, and he was angry, and he was so lost. People think healing is about moving on. For me, it was about returning. It was a slow, awkward pilgrimage back to myself. Returning to old passions I had buried because they weren't our thing. I picked up a guitar that had been collecting dust for years. I started writing again, pouring out all the words I had swallowed. It was about returning to friendships I had neglected, reaching out to people who knew the me from before, the one who laughed loudly and had strong opinions. Most importantly, it was about returning to the quiet voice inside me, the one I had silenced for so long, that whispered, "You're allowed to choose yourself. You're allowed to take up space." I had to relearn how to be alone. Not just physically alone, but emotionally alone. I had to learn how to sit with myself in a quiet room without feeling an overwhelming sense of emptiness, without reaching for my phone to fill the void. And somewhere in that uncomfortable silence, I found something incredible. I found a new identity forming, growing from the ground up. This new identity wasn't built around the desperate need to be chosen. It was built around the quiet power of choosing myself. It was solid. It was mine. That failed relationship, that beautiful disaster, taught me 3 things that have fundamentally changed my life forever. First, if you have to shrink yourself to be loved, it's not love, it's disappearing. True connection should make you feel more like yourself, not less. It should feel expansive, not restrictive. Love should be a stage, not a cage. Second, you are not responsible for someone else's emotional universe. It is not your job to manage their happiness, to fix their insecurities, or to be the constant source of their validation. They meet you as a whole person, not as a half hoping to be filled. You can support them, you can love them, but you cannot carry them. Trying to do so will only make you both drown. And third, and this is the one that took me the longest to learn, your needs are not an inconvenience. They are a compass. They are the most fundamental part of who you are. Voicing them isn't being needy or demanding. It's being honest. It's an act of self-respect. The right person won't be burdened by your needs. They will want to help you meet them, just as you want to help meet theirs. I didn't become a better person after that breakup. I became a more honest one. Radically, uncomfortably, beautifully honest. I stopped chasing validation from others because I learned how to give it to myself. I stopped apologizing for being myself, for having opinions, for taking up space. I stopped asking for permission to exist. That relationship didn't destroy me. It revealed me. It stripped away everything that wasn't truly mine and left me standing with nothing but my own 2 feet and my own true heart. So if you're watching this and your heart is breaking right now, I want you to hear this. Lean in close. You are not losing your identity. I promise you, you're not. You are in the powerful, painful process of meeting the version of yourself you were always meant to become. The one who was waiting just beyond the person you thought you had to be. You are meeting the you that exists after letting go of the one who couldn't stay. Sometimes the most painful goodbye is the beginning of the most honest life. It hurts. It hurts more than words can say. But what you will find on the other side of that pain is you, the real you. And that person is worth fighting for. That person is worth the tears and the lonely nights. Thank you for listening. If this resonated, stick around. We've got a lot more to talk about.